where the soul is reborn, narrated romantic drama. The ruins of yesterday. There was something about Madrid, when it rained, that made memories slip between the raindrops. For Valeria, every storm echoed what once was, a whisper of everything she had lost. It was a November afternoon, the sky veiled in pale clouds, and the city wrapped in its usual rhythm. Valeria walked along Gran Via with her coat tight around her body and her soul in fragments. It had been a year since Daniel left her, and although time had healed some wounds, others still silently bled. "You and I are no longer there, Val," he had said on their last night together. "I don't want to hurt you anymore, but I need to find myself. And you deserve someone who isn't broken." Ironic, she thought now. He talked about being broken when she was the one left in pieces. Daniel had been her shelter, her mirror, her love story written between coffees and books, between train stations and shared sunrises. But even shelters can collapse. She stopped in front of a bookstore. The reflection in the glass returned a version of her she barely recognized: tired eyes, absent smile, the aura of a woman surviving but no longer dreaming. Inside, the soft sound of piano music filled the air, and a sign at the entrance announced the book signing. "Lucas Beltran." "Lucas Beltran?" she muttered. The name stirred something. She walked in on instinct. Among books and readers, a quiet line of people waited. At the far end, behind a modest table, a man with short beard, dark eyes, and calm presence signed copies with a steady hand. "Lucas Beltran," Valeria repeated softly. Then she remembered. He had been a classmate at university, quiet, observant, always scribbling in a notebook. They'd only shared a couple of seminars, but she recalled one of his short stories about love and time. It had left her breathless. She browsed his book. The title, "What the Winter Couldn't Take," struck a nerve. She joined the line. When it was her turn, Lucas looked up with a spark of recognition. "Valeria?" "Hi, Lucas," she said, smiling for the first time in weeks. He took a second to reply. "What a surprise. How have you been?" She hesitated. She could have lied, but something about his honest eyes invited truth. "Surviving." Lucas nodded. "That's already something." She bought the book. He signed it. Before she left, he said, "There's a reading this week at a cafe in Malasaña. You should come." She didn't promise, but wrote down the address. Coffee Between Scars. Café Amapola was a hidden place, like a secret you only reveal on rainy days. Valeria arrived 10 minutes late. The place was lit dimly, full of mismatched chairs and steaming mugs. On a small stage, Lucas read one of his stories aloud. His voice was warm, slow, as if every word needed time to breathe. "And then she understood that ruins can also bloom if you water them with true tears," he read, and a hush filled the room. Valeria sat in a corner, heart pounding. Every phrase sounded like it had been stolen from her own story. After the reading, she approached. "That was beautiful," she said sincerely. "Thanks for coming." They had coffee, talked about Madrid, books, broken dreams. He never asked about Daniel. He didn't need to. Valeria appreciated the discretion. With Lucas, she felt strangely safe. It wasn't love yet, but it was companionship, two lonely souls finding warmth in each other's voice. Paris in her hands. A month later, they drank hot chocolate at a Retiro terrace. Madrid had finally opened its sky, and golden clouds hung low over the trees. Lucas talked about a book presentation in Paris. "You should come," he said suddenly. "To Paris?" "Yeah, just for a few days. New air, inspiration, streets with stories." Valeria laughed. "Sounds dangerous." "Dangerous?" "For someone who promised herself never to hope again." Lucas stirred his drink. "And if you never hope, when do you start living again?" That was the moment she knew she'd go. Paris welcomed them with soft rain and the scent of fresh bread. Their hotel was small, with watercolor paintings of Montmartre and lavender curtains. They strolled by the Seine, shared chocolate crepes near Notre Dame, and watched the sunset from Sacré-Cœur. One night, under the glowing Eiffel Tower, Lucas gently took her hand. "Why are you looking at me like that?" she asked. "Because I don't know if I should kiss you or keep watching how your eyes reflect this city." She didn't answer. She kissed him first. Shadows heal. 2. Back in Madrid, the magic didn't fade, but the fears returned. In her apartment, Valeria saw the old photos of Daniel she still hadn't removed. The promises, the empty nights, the waiting, it all came back. Lucas noticed. "Do you still love him?" he asked one evening at Dibot Temple. "I don't know if it's love, or habit, or fear of losing what's already gone." "Sometimes pain becomes part of our home," he whispered. She leaned on his shoulder. "I don't want to carry my past into you. You deserve something clean." "I didn't come to rescue you, Valeria. Just to stay, if you let me." She cried, not from sorrow, from relief, letting go to begin again. One day, she found a letter she had written to Daniel, but never sent. She mailed it. Daniel replied days later, "Thanks for your letter. I've changed, but too late. I wish you love the good kind." But this time, it was like rain that cleanses a garden. Light in Lisbon. Lucas invited her to Lisbon for a literary festival. The city wrapped them in narrow streets, yellow trams, and Atlantic breezes. On the Miraduro in Alfama, she confessed, "With you, I no longer feel broken, just under repair." "And that's beautiful," he replied. "Because while there's something to heal, there's something worth living for." At the festival's closing night, Lucas read a new piece on a rooftop. "Valeria wasn't salvation, she was the fire that taught me warmth doesn't always burn. Some flames heal." She hugged him between the applause. For the first time in years, she wasn't afraid. A chosen home. Back in Madrid, they moved in together. Not out of need, but because they no longer saw life apart. Valeria began writing her own novella story about second chances and love after pain. Lucas encouraged her, edited her drafts, brewed coffee as she wrote. One night, under stars on their rooftop, Lucas knelt with a small box. "I don't need a yes today. I just want you to know I want to grow old with you, with all your versions." She laughed, cried, and answered, "Then stay for every version, even the ones I haven't discovered yet." End. Where the Soul is Reborn. Years later, Valeria presented her debut novel in the same cafe where she once heard Lucas read. The title, Where the Soul is Reborn. Lucas clapped in the front row. When asked what inspired her most, she didn't hesitate. "The love that taught me that after winter, spring always comes."